Hello and welcome to the Bucket List Show. I'm Tammy Crandall with Journ Adventure Travel and Tours and Barron Real Estate, and I am joined by my co-host.
I am Rebecca Denise with Superior Storage as well as Barron Real Estate.
Okay, and we are here to serve our community to help you fill your bucket to live your most abundant life. And that is different. I say this every time, but it's different for everybody. You know, we have small little milestones we want to hit, and we've got larger milestones we want to hit. That could be that you're prepping for retirement. You've got to do that with the right advisor.
Correct.
And they're like, what advisor, right? Yeah, but you know, that's the case. And those things are all important as you prep through different stages of your life. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about homes that we got to see last Friday.
New construction tour.
That's right. We had the pleasure of joining the Women's Council of Realtors of Martin County, and we did what they call a progressive lunch.
Yeah, and it was a great tour.
That's right. And there's a reason why realtors as a whole do these types of things for the community, and that is so we can understand what is available out there in the event that you choose that you want to build a home as opposed to purchase a home that has already been freestanding.
Correct.
So there's some advantages to that. So let's just talk a little bit about those advantages, and then we'll step into what we got to see on Friday.
Perfect. And I think, part of it is, depending on your lifestyle, that's going to help you pick your home. Some people want the resort-style houses, and these three were resort-style houses, but you may want, a separate single family that's not an HOA, or you may want just a condo, or there is, mobile homes. There's so many different outlets. But the idea of the three that we've seen is really, to me, it was the lifestyle. How do you want to live?
Yeah, and that's exactly it. Sometimes the money that you're spending, you're trying to figure out where am I going to get the most bang for the buck that I'm spending.
Right.
And so for those of you out there who've never lived in an HOA community, they're like, I'm not going to live in an HOA, because I don't want to have to pay that fee. But sometimes you don't understand what those things are paid.
Yeah, and and you got to look at it from, when you start the process of buying, it could change your borrowing amount because you're not paying the HOA.
That's right.
But then the HOA, sometimes it's your cable, it's your garbage, it's your water, and then you have a full gym and pool and paddleball. And that becomes part of your way of life too.
Yeah, you've got amenity centers that you can utilize for personal events and things of that nature.
Yeah.
Pickleball courts today are huge. There are pickleball courts being built everywhere. Every community out there, if they're going up and they're building pickleball courts along with their tennis courts.
And then it's that whole social aspect. There is a St. Patrick's Day party. They celebrate Christmas or the other holidays. So for someone who maybe wants to be social but just doesn't know how to get involved, this will get you involved because you're part of a bigger community. So that becomes your village, and they may do day trips. They may do arts and crafts or bring in a speaker about, credit protection.
Or travel. That's
right. There really is just a whole host of benefits to living in an HOA.
Yeah.
And obviously most of them are gated, so that adds a little bit of security.
If you're a person who likes the idea of having a pool, but you don't like the maintenance yourself, you live in a community where they've got the pool in their rec center, you've got a pool that's taken care of, you don't have to take care of it. A lot of times these centers may have their own fitness. Not all of them do, but some of them do. But a lot of them have nature trails or walking trails within their community. So
just the idea to have a sidewalk. If you're riding your bike, all those things, if you're walking your dog. So there is a lot of benefit. You just have to look at it and then decide how much money do you want allocated to the HOA because you would have spent that money elsewhere.
That's true. That's true.
Or you just totally want that lifestyle. And there's a little bit of restrictions, but you're going to see what it is. It probably means you just can't paint your house black, or you can't put in a certain fence, but you do have the things that you need to make your home your own.
That's true. This is true. So, with that in mind, we're going to jump right in and just share some information with you about a few of the properties. Three. We actually visited three on Friday. The first one that we went to see was actually by K. Hovnanian Homes, and that's in Salerno Reserve. It's a single family area, and they have some freestanding homes and some villa-style homes.
And
which
this is
amazing.
in Stuart, Florida.
Yes, in Stuart, Florida. And those homes typically are starting anywhere in $699s and up, just to give you a kind of a sneak peek of what you're looking at in that area. Typical what they have available in those spaces: 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, a 2-car garage. They may even have what we call a bonus space, which is separate, which can be an amazing thing to have if you want an area in your home for crafting, or you just want a place that's quiet for reading, you know, where you set up your own library and things of that nature. Or maybe you need an office space.
Yeah, an office. I mean, these houses were spectacular.
Absolutely.
You know, the way they set up the details, you know, some of these options that we're going to talk about today will have gas options, which is, you know, something that's not all over in areas in Florida. But they were just beautiful, open floor plans, beautiful colors.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the greens. And
well, and on top of all the amenities and the different things, you know, so we're talking about, you know, Korean style countertops, water features in the properties. But beyond that, a lot of these construction developments now are offering some savings. You know, in the case of Salerno Reserve, one of the things that K. Hovnanian is offering is flex cash up to $50,000 is available within those communities towards your purchase.
And what a gift. And she said 50,000.
Yeah.
And you know, the idea is that they're that confident in their product and what they could give you, and it's a new construction, so you won't necessarily have the worries. You'll have a 1-year warranty. But the idea that you have a little bit of flex money to say, you know, I do want that landing up top, or maybe add a little pool, or you know, extend the lanai in some of these homes, which was, what a difference to have a larger lanai than standard.
Well, and that, and just the craftsmanship alone of what they have on the properties there, whether you're looking at not just the spacious floor plan, they've got some that have lofts included, farmhouse elements to them, which are just absolutely beautiful. You know, so if you are really trying to build that dream space for you and your family, this is an ideal spot to look at.
It was great. It was, and then some of the homes, you know, they had it where, you know, the master suite was over here, and then there's a second master suite, or if you're on the 2th floor in the townhouse or a single family, you know, when you go up the stairs, they have the landing that is now like a den or a sit-in room, large enough for a couch, and you know, so it becomes another space that's being used, and then all the bedrooms were upstairs as well, and multiple bathrooms. The one thing that I liked, which I thought was kind of quirky, is, you know, when you have a master bathroom, you have the 2 dual sinks. Instead of being in a row like here, they're opposite. So one's here, one's on the other side. So it brings that extra
bumping
space.
into each other the whole
and it
time.
was just those little touches of the things that they changed, I thought made a difference.
Right, and the fact that, you know, in this particular case, Salerno Reserve is really not too far away from getting to area beaches. So even just being close to store areas and you know, shopping, and just being able to have a lot of nice nature element areas that you can go to that are within historic downtown Stuart, near the beaches, and even beyond those areas. So. So those are great things. And we've got another couple properties that we're going to talk about, but before we do that, we're going to take a little break.
Journaventure Travel and Tours, where it's about your journey, not just the destination. Picture a world full of amazing places yet to be discovered. Where do you begin? Whether your bucket list includes cruising in the Caribbean, exploring vast nature in Alaska, or experiencing exotic worldwide places, we're here to help you fill your bucket to live your most abundant life. Your journey begins from the moment you let go and let us handle the details for you. So call us today, Journaventure Travel and Tours, 772-882-3165.
Hello everyone, I am Rebecca from the Bucket List Show, and today we're going to continue on talking about the properties that we were earlier. So we're going to highlight another property in Stuart. This is called Cove Royale, And again, Tammy and I did a tour of a couple of properties, and so we're going to talk about this one as our second one. And again, beautiful resort style, lovely pool, ranch style homes. And again, it's a community when you join these HOAs. The price level for here is probably like 7-ish, built extraordinary well, all the little touches.
Cove Royale by Coulter Homes.
Yes.
No holds barred. I mean, they just include gourmet kitchens in their homes. You know, they have bonus rooms.
I know.
And so all of those, you can either have a bedroom or you can add flex space in place of a bedroom. And those extended lanais with the pools.
Yeah, that really made a difference.
It just makes you want to live on the back patio.
Yeah, I mean, you have the whole width of your house as the lanai, which compared to the standard, that's maybe 12 feet. I can't remember. But,
exactly.
And the kitchens were gorgeous.
Oh, they were.
These are kitchens that a chef would want to cook in. Beautiful appliances. Everything is there that you need at your reach. And then the flow of the home is very welcoming.
Oh, absolutely.
But you still have privacy if you have that den or if you have the loft upstairs.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you know, when you walk into these homes, you can't help but just kind of like drop your jaw. And it just, you walk in, it has a very opulent feel. You know, typically most of the models that we were in, you would find a bedroom with its own bathroom on the front end of the house, either a bonus space just past those areas, or what could be another bedroom if that's what you wanted, along with a nice wide open living space with just a huge area that you could, you know, in the kitchen area with the countertops where you could set up stools at the countertops, just stunning and no holds barred. I'd say on average, the ceilings in these places, 12-foot ceilings with 13-foot trays.
Correct.
You know, crown molding throughout.
The windows were large, you know, filled up, you know, to capacity for the height. And then the kitchen.
8-foot doors through everything.
Right. Yeah, the 8-foot doors, those were great too. And then the kitchen, you know, they had the, you know, obviously your oven, dishwasher, but they also had a built-in air fryer in some of them, which I thought was, you know, a nice added bonus based on how people are cooking today and our schedules. But the homes were open and they were beautiful, but they were warm. So you could go and live there, even though you're thinking at this price level. I mean, they were comfortable homes. They were meant for a family. And then, or if you wanted something quiet, the pools and the patio area was gorgeous.
Which made them ideal. Just the setup in and of itself. Although, and I outright agree with you there that it's really set up for a family structure.
Yes.
What was so ideal for that setup structure is beyond it being a family space, it was a great place to entertain.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I would love to live there myself, but we'll see. But the lanai, you know, they had full furniture in the lanai. They had another dining room table, and they're covered. And then the idea to walk out to the pool, it was just spectacular.
Well, and this particular community, Cove Royale, which is, like I said, is part of Coulter Homes, has 83 homes. They have about 20% remaining to sell. So some of those which are literally ready to move into quite soon, and then the remainder will be ready in about 6 months.
Right. And the thing about the 83 homes that is key, most sites, the HOAs, they build a larger number of homes. So the idea that they're sharing that 83 homes is that means there's more space. You're not on top of each other on the houses. There's more land to walk or for just typical usage.
Even the sidewalks
are
wider.
Yeah. And again, if you're riding a bike and, you know, all those little things make a difference for what you want. But the idea to entertain, a spectacular loan if you're, house if you're doing, you know, a Saturday night movie night with your family or you're entertaining a holiday party, but they were beautiful. And we had probably, you know, 40 people moving around through this house and they served lunch and everything. So it really is just, they're gorgeous.
Yeah. And they've got several floor plans, I believe 5 different floor plans to choose from. very flexible to personalize the home, so it's not so cookie cutter.
Right.
Some of these communities you move into are very cookie cutter, but they've got a lot of great different options that you can choose
Right.
from when you're building.
And the price level we said was around that 7, 8ish. If you're coming from up north in different areas, for what you're getting for that price level, it really is comparable. So you're getting what you need. Stewart obviously is a beautiful place if you're looking for the schools and things of that nature.
Absolutely.
As a family, I think it's great. They're also building the Casco, our first
Right,
one around
right.
here in Stewart.
Yeah, so they've got top-ranked schools there in
Absolutely.
Stewart. It's close to Port Salerno. You've got the Lyric Theater. The Treasure Coast Square Mall is close by. Indian Riverside Park.
Yeah, I mean, you got 20 minutes either
Yeah,
way.
so if
and-
you want different golf courses, there's like 8 different golf courses surround within the general area. Chastain Beach, Causeway
Right.
Beach.
But at the same time, Stewart is it's still cute and it's quaint.
It is,
And it
yes.
still has a beautiful downtown, beautiful river walk, a lot of community events. Big fan of Stewart.
Yeah, it really is a perfect area
It
where
is.
they've got it set up. All 3 of these neighborhoods we're
Yes.
talking about today are set up in close proximity
Right.
to all of those areas that I mentioned.
Yeah, so this is another great product. And we're going to put some information up when we share this and we post it. But,
Yes.
this is another great
Yeah, options to choose
option.
from.
Thank you.
Yeah. So the third and last one we're going
Yep.
to introduce you to today is actually Preserves at Park Trace. This is D.R. Horton, America's Builder.
Right, yep.
And so we want to make sure that we thank them for that. Their series out in that area starts around the $599 range, off of Park Trace Drive in Stewart. And of course that community, single family, nestled in the home. You'll notice there's a lot of talk. We see so many things go up that are 55 and over.
Right.
So all 3 of these communities that we've discussed today are single family style
Right.
homes.
So you have no restrictions. And they're all family.
Right. Right.
Geez, I forgot the word again. Family oriented.
Yes,
Thank you.
family oriented.
Sorry, I apologize.
Yeah, this particular community, is gated, has an HOA, has some community features. I know Coulter is going to be building another community nearby to that, which is very common in some of these communities that you see that are smaller built. You've got D.R. Horton, Coulter might be
Right.
nearby. There's 2 or 3 different builders to choose from within that, so you've got quite a number of different builders to
Right.
choose from.
And then you have different price levels too.
Absolutely.
So this one, you said was a little bit lower in the 5-ish, but they have their amenities. Was this the property that had the lower HOA fee?
I believe so.
Okay, I believe so too. We'll double check
Yeah,
on that.
yeah.
And the HOA fee, it was lower, but they have different amenities. So that could be part of your, options
Right.
too when you're trying to make a decision.
Yeah.
But beautiful single-family homes.
Yeah, they have a lake on that space in that particular community, Cabana. Like I had mentioned earlier, it was gated, has a pool,
Yeah.
and then of course there are so many different things that that you can do within those communities we talked about earlier with that community pool or community events.
Right.
So
Yeah,
these are the
absolutely.
types of things that HOAs offer to you that you don't necessarily get out, and you don't have. I'm not saying it's a bad thing.
Right.
We've got great areas in the west end of St. Lucie here in Tradition.
Correct.
But very large communities. We're talking 1,200 homes per section. So that can be a bit daunting or overwhelming for some people. So if you're looking for something that is a little more intimate from a community perspective, that's a great way to look at it. So, just to give you an idea, of some of the included features that, a house from D.R. Horton would include, like these are all, in fact, everything we talked about today are CBS constructed
Right,
homes.
and that's important.
Yes, CBS constructed.
So that's concrete block, just for someone maybe not know.
Yeah.
Compared to up north, they don't build that way.
Yeah, and in this particular case with D.R. Horton at the Preserves at Park Trace, we're talking knockdown textured finishes on the walls and ceilings, gel run 2-panel interior doors, so good quality doors, keyed entry handsets,
Yeah, smart homes.
Yes, exactly. And we saw that was kind of a trend.
Yes, yeah, that's
in the builds. Now it's becoming more of a commonplace thing
you
to
run
see.
your house on your phone. But they're also,
Exactly.
you got the protection of the storms, and that makes a big difference when you're
Absolutely.
deciding to buy a house compared to maybe buy something that's an older inventory that was stick built compared to this. So again, you have options.
Right, and then they have, some of the things that we mentioned. If you are a person who likes to spend a lot of time in your kitchen, it comes with Whirlpool stainless steel appliances,
beautiful.
Just beautiful things, Moen faucets, those types of things, and a variety of things to choose from.
And you also have gas, which is big deal, which I mentioned before. But if you look in Port St. Lucie in Tradition, they don't have the gas feature for the stove. They're tying that in. But most people, at least me, I've always wanted a gas stove.
Oh, yeah.
And it makes a big difference. But these kitchens are like, gourmet kitchens.
Yes.
There's a beautiful flow to the properties. And again, even though they're new and it's all high end, they're warm and it's meant for a family. Or you want to retire, and that's great too. So,
Exactly.
So at least you have a little bit of both.
And then, I would say the primary difference in this particular community with D.R. Horton, maybe you don't want a home that's so massive.
Right, yeah.
So if you want a home that's a little bit more moderate for you to be able to take care of or maintain, the average home, their Avon model, is 1,641 square feet.
And that's perfect.
That's a 3-2 with a 2-car garage. Beautiful landscaping.
Yeah, their plantings, their
yes.
outdoor, their sidewalks, everything really just kind of flowed.
They do have larger models if you wanted an additional bedroom. So they do offer their Cali model, which has got 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a 2-car garage that runs about 1,828
So
living square feet under air.
So that's still a good
still
amount.
a good moderately
Right.
sized home.
Yeah.
Nothing too big, too small either.
Yeah, and it's good for the average person or someone who is retiring.
And then also, I've seen where sometimes people will want to use that 4th bedroom for an office space. There's a lot of people doing work from home or remotely.
Even if you're, doing the school from home, that gives you another spot. And if you needed to, you could, obviously close that off. But it's just a great little extension to what you have.
Right. And if you are used to having guests in and out of your home quite frequently, they even offer some models with 2.5 baths.
Yeah, I like that too. So when you walk in, you have a bath for that, and it gives a little bit of privacy. And then it separates, the sides of the house too.
Yes,
The bedroom's master, and then maybe the others on the other side.
Yeah. And, the models that we've discussed up to this point are predominantly single level, but they do offer upstairs living options. And again, those are options, so of course that is an additional cost to the home. But it's about being able to have that bonus room that is separate and away from the rest of the house. It's also one of the models that we looked at, if you remember, they had a bedroom set up in the front left of the home that had its own bathroom tucked into that bedroom space. So if you needed or have a desire to have an en-suite for an in-law who's living with you, that was an ideal setup for a home. So, so many different options to choose from.
And the part of the issue is, the idea when you align with a realtor and they pick their team, it's so important to pick a realtor that knows each facility, each community, whether it's Stewart or you want to go to Palm City or you're Port St. Lucie. There's so many options. And what we could offer is breaking that down.
Absolutely.
Doing some homework for you. We definitely go visit all these sites, so we're busy and knowledgeable and on that. But this way we could help you break it down.
Exactly.
If you're tying into the school system, or you want to be right next to Cleveland Clinic, or you want to be near 95. So
you want close access to beaches. You want to be
Right.
close
So
to
there's
downtown
so many
Stewart, but you don't want to be
variables.
sitting on top of them.
Right. And Florida is
so-
still very busy with people moving to Florida, busy with new construction. Obviously, the older inventory is also selling. So there's a lot of options. If maybe this is not your option, but you're
Sure.
looking for a first-time home buyer, maybe in that 250 range, those properties are out there. You just need a realtor who's going to break it down for you. And that's
right.
what we could offer, because there is a lot of things to decide upon.
It is. There are steps that you've got to take
Yep.
when you're going to make that home buy. Unless not everybody's a cash buyer.
Correct.
So it's important that, we help you put the things that you need in order, and that always starts, if you're not a cash buyer, we're going to make sure that we connect you with some great partners we have that are able to lend, and make sure that you've got the power to buy when you go out to make that purchase. I'm working with the buyer now that's exactly what we're doing, and she's not a first-time buyer in this case, but she also has a more conservative budget. So with that conservative budget means we go out, we look at a lot of homes.
Right.
And that's okay. That's part of what we do. We're going to vet exactly what it is that person is looking for. Is this going to be a right fit? Has it got everything on it that needs to be taken care of? So, and we can talk about this stuff all day because we love it.
I know.
And but we don't want our poor camera guy to say, okay, it's about time you wrap it up, right? So, and that's okay too.
Right. Yeah.
But again, we have mentioned in the past, we are always looking for ideas of things that we want to bring to you. This is what this show is about. The Bucket List Show is all about you and the things that we can bring to the table for you. So if there's a topic that you would like to share with us, please reach out to us. We actually have an email. I don't think we've ever shared that on the air. It's called No Boxes at thebucketlисtshow.life. And if you email your suggestions, we would be happy to entertain those and see if we can't include those topics on the show. But in the meantime, if you would like to reach us with any questions you have, again, I'm Tammy Crandall with Journa Venture Travel and Tours and Barron Real Estate, and I can be reached at 772-579-9536.
And I am Rebecca Denise with Barron Real Estate and Superior Storage. My best number is 203-482-7297. Be kind, everybody.
And thank you so much. We'll see you next time.